have a lot of random scrap fabrics lying around, but not much time to take on a big sewing project, so today I'm going to show you how to make not one, not two, but 4 super simple beginner friendly projects that only take 10 minutes or less, because we're all about that instant gratification over here. All of these projects are also great to sell or give as gifts, which is amazing because Christmas is right around the corner, and if you're anything like me, you haven't bought anything for anyone, so you're getting a bit stressed. Or you can just make them all and keep them for yourself. Anyway, let's get into it. To make the tote bag, cut 2 pieces of fabric that are 17 inches by 17 inches or 43 centimeters by 43 centimeters for the body of the bag, and 2 strips of fabric that are 4 inches by 20 inches or 10 centimeters by 50 centimeters for the straps. I didn't have enough fabric to cut out 2 long strips for the straps, so I cut out 4 and I'm going to be joining them together later on, so it's totally fine if you have to work around the scrap fabrics that you have. Firstly, get your large square of fabric for the body of the bag and place them on top of each other right sides together. Sew along 3 of the 4 sides using a straight stitch. Next, find the open side of the square and fold the raw edges in once about 1/3 of an inch or 1 centimeter, and then fold it over again 1 centimeter or 1/3 of an inch, so all the raw edges are contained. So you're basically just folding the raw edges in twice. When doing this, make sure you make this hem on the inside of the bag so it's all pretty on the outside of your piece. Then sew this together or else your hem won't stay together. Now get your strap pieces, and if you don't have enough fabric like me, quickly sew the ends together so you have 2 long rectangles. Fold the sides of the straps inwards towards the center so they meet, and then fold the whole thing in half so the straps are now in quarters with all the raw edges tucked inside in this little sandwich. Then repeat this for the other strap. You can also iron this down if you find it helps you folding it in half, but I like to just iron it afterwards and I find it works fine doing it by eye. Then sew down the long end of the strap so this little fold stays in place. Lastly, measure 3 inches or about 7.5 centimeters from either side seam of your bag and place your straps at these points. Make sure the straps aren't twisted or anything, because if you sew them all twisted up, you're going to have to completely undo it and re-sew them down. So make sure both straps are the same length, at the same place, and not twisted. Also make sure that you put the raw edges of the straps inside the bag so the raw edges will be hidden when we sew it down. Then lastly, just sew the straps onto the body of the bag, going back and forth with a straight stitch a couple times so it's nice and secure. And here's the final bag. If you find it a bit too simple for your liking, you can play around with decorating your bag with ribbons, lace or patches to make it really unique to you and your style. I played around with quite a few different designs before settling on this one pink bow on one of the straps, which I think adds a really cute detail and makes the whole bag look way cuter and way more me. Okay, so this bandana is more like a 3-minute project than a 10-minute project. It's so quick, so simple. So firstly, cut a square of fabric that's 23 inches by 23 inches or 58 centimeters by 58 centimeters. Since I'm trying to use up my scraps, I didn't have enough fabric to cut this out in one big piece, so I had to cut it out in 2 smaller bits. So I've got 2 pieces. I'm just going to quickly sew them together so they form a square, but if you do have enough fabric to cut it out in one, you can obviously skip this step. Now get your big square and fold the raw edges of one side inwards about 1/3 of an inch or 1 centimeter once. Repeat that again so all the raw edges are hidden. So now you've folded it in 1/3 of an inch or 1 centimeter in twice, so it's all pretty. Then do this again for all the other sides of your square so everything is hemmed. So fold the raw edges of all the sides inwards 1/3 of an inch or 1 centimeter twice. Then sew along all the sides of your square so it's all hemmed. And that's pretty much it. This is probably my favourite project to make now. It's so quick, so simple, and it's such a great project to just bang out if you need a gift for someone or anything. And it's also really pretty in your hair. You can add a little cottagecore pizzazz to an otherwise simply boring hairstyle. To make the zipper pouch, cut 1 piece of fabric that's 8 inches or 20 centimeters by 11 inches or 28 centimeters. You'll also need a 7 inch or an 18 centimeter zipper for this project, And you can use whatever zipper you like, but keep in mind you will see the zipper on the outside of your pouch at the end, so pick a colour and style you're happy with and that goes with your design. Now get your zipper and place it down on the top of the shorter side of your fabric with the right sides of the fabric and the zipper kissing. Then sew one side of the zipper to the fabric. You can use a zipper foot to sew this together if you like, but it's also totally fine if you don't have one, and I'm not using one today because I can't be bothered changing my sewing foot. But basically what you want to do is just back tack at the start, then sew down at the zipper, then when you get to like the middle you need to like move the zipper out of the way because there's like too much bulk, so you just want to like put up your sewing machine foot, then move the zipper out of the way, put it back down and continue sewing till the end and then back tack again. Now just repeat that for the other side, so place the other side of the zipper right sides together with the fabric and sew them together. Okay, so now just fold the zipper pouch in half, but instead of making the zipper go to the top, I'm going to measure 1 inch or about 2 centimeters from the zipper so we get a little bit of fabric at the top. You could of course just fold it in half normally, but I prefer the style, so you do you. Then sew down the side seams of the pouch, making sure to sew slowly over the zipper as it's quite thick, it's quite a chonker, and you don't want to break any needles. Lastly, to finish the raw edges, I trimmed mine using pinking shears, but if you don't have any you can also go over them quickly using a zigzag stitch or an overlocker so your pouch lasts longer than you. And you're done! This little guy has so many uses, it's insane. A makeup bag, a pencil case, a wallet, just holding anything you want really. I have so many of these all over the house and they're just so handy dandy. Cut out 3 pieces of fabric that are 4 inches by 4 inches or 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. Also cut out 2 pieces of iron-on interfacing that are the same dimensions. I find it can be a bit tricky to cut the interfacing perfectly square because mine's really slippery, so I find folding in half diagonally and cutting off the excess to be a good way to make sure it's super even and crisp. Then get the square of the fabric you want to be on the back of your bookmark and iron one of the squares of interfacing to it. Make sure you iron them right sides together, otherwise the interfacing could get glued on your iron and that's just not what we want. I like to cut my interfacing a little bit smaller than the fabric because I've cut it too big before and gotten adhesive all over my ironing board, which is a pain to clean off. Honestly, there's nothing worse than having a sticky old iron. Next, grab the other interfacing square and cut it in half so you have a triangle. We will only need one of these for this project, so set this be a triangle aside. You can always use it to make another bookmark. Then get the square of fabric you want to hang over the pages of your bookmark and iron this triangle to one of its corners, right sides together. Once it's bonded completely, fold the other side of the rectangle over the interfacing and using the edge of the interfacing to fold the fabric to a crisp triangle. Then iron all this down again so it stays in place. So now you should have one fabric square with interfacing, one fabric square without interfacing, and one triangle square with interfacing. To put it all together, place one of the squares right sides up, then align the triangle to one of the corners, and lastly place the other square wrong sides up. Sew along all the edges, leaving a small opening on one of the ends open like this. Make sure it's big enough so you'll be able to turn this right sides out later. So about 2 centimeters or 1 inch should be fine. Now trim the seam allowance down and clip the corners so it turns out nicely. Then find the hole we left open and turn it right sides out. This can be a bit tricky, so take your time, and you can also get something pointy like a pair of scissors or a pencil and push the corners out so they're nice and neat. You also want to make sure that the flap that goes over the book is facing the right end, so you want whatever is on the back to have the interfacing, so you can always just flip it over if it needs to be corrected or moved around. Lastly, fold the raw edges of the hole inwards and top stitch around the entire square. Make sure to take your time with this because it can be really thick around the corners and quite difficult to sew, so I find I just need to take my time, give it a minute, and it will turn out beautifully. I hope you guys enjoyed making these super cute quick projects with me. I think I'm definitely going to be giving some of these away for Christmas presents because they're so cute, so useful, and so quick to make. And they're also really cheap to make too because they don't use much fabric at all. If you want to know how to make even more super quick cute projects, I've also made this video on how to sew some super speedy cute scrunchies, so click here if you want to see that, and I'll see you next time. Ciao ciao!